AskReddit. What's the funniest thing you've done to avoid having sex? Back in college I was a designated driver for a group of friends. We get to a party and my sober ass is bored. Then a very drunk woman I knew from one of my classes started hitting on me, culminating with her telling me she'd fuck my brains out. Sober me thought this wasn't kosher, since she was hammered, so I turned around for a moment and yanked a few hairs out of my nose. It made me eyes water and my nose run, and I said, I have a brutal cold you don't want to catch. Why don't you let me get better and then I'll take you out. I gave her my phone number and she thought that was so sweet she passed out with her head in my lap. 3 days later before class she came up to me, gave me a huge hug, and thanked me for not being a dick. We ended up dating, and she's still one of my best friends. You manually ripped out nose hairs for chivalry's sake. You are a man among men, and have my utmost respect. I ran the fuck away. I was with a girl from a party out on the street going at it on top of a car hood in an alley. After a bit she tried to slip me in, because she was wearing a skirt and no panties. This was easily attainable. She had a death lock on my hips with her legs as I was standing there, and I asked if she had any condoms. She told me no, and again with her teeth lock on me started to steer me back into her. In my head I was thinking fuck AIDS and shit. I don't know her, she's not even wearing panties. Instead of telling her I didn't want to, my drunk ass instead went oh, and pointed out across the street. When she looked, I spun out of her grip and all in one motion grabbed my pants back up and went into a full sprint and jumped the fence into someone's yard and took off down the street. About the time I hit the ground over the fence I heard her yell, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I ran away across an alley and over a fence into someone's yard, across that and into a full sprint down the street. Listen to this. I have never gotten credit for how smooth I was. I was younger and doing some underpants grinding laying on the couch. Things were getting hot and heavy and I could feel how irresistibly hard he was getting, but something just didn't feel right. I look down and see a tiny dot of blood from Mother Nature's shank on his plaid boxers. Oh fuck. Oh fuck, oh fuck. No way in hell am I letting him see that. In order to save face, I did what any nervous lady could do. I as sexily as possible take off his boxers and start blowing him, but take his boxers and put them on myself. Talk about biting the bullet. Once he was sufficiently finished I dealt with the boxers, my business and everything, while getting a drink for my now parched mouth. No need to finish me, thanks, I'm too tired. Went with this girl to some seedy love hotel. I'm Brazilian. She wants me to go down on her. Well, why the fuck not? Thing is, there's a strange smell coming from down there, and it's far from that normal, girly, and pleasing smell. No, it's not menstruation. It's not poop. It isn't anything caused by a lack of hygiene either. It's not even an yeast infection. I know these smells. Trust me. It's something akin to carrion. Like there's some necrotic tissue inside her parts. When I took her panties off I almost gagged. So I did what any manly man would do. I immediately excused myself to the bathroom and escaped through the window. While wingmaning a friend who was having sex in another room of the house, I had to sleep in the same bed as the girl he was having sex with's ugly friend. So she really wants to do the dirty, but I'm not feeling it with her at all. So very drunk, I decide to make a fort on my half of the bed out of blankets and pillows and such, and try to go to sleep. However, she is surprisingly aggressive, so for an hour I have to keep yelling at her, "No girls allowed in my fort." She eventually got the message. Fucking right, no girls allowed. That's your fort. There are many like it, but that one was yours. I fell behind a dryer. I was drunk, sitting up on top of a dryer in a friend's laundry room. The creepy girl I had avoided all evening entered and had me cornered in the room. She pushes up on me, tries unbuckling my belt, and attempts to kiss me. My only method of evasion was to fall backwards behind the dryer and wait until backup arrived. 3 friends heard her calling for help and sprung me from being trapped between the wall and the dryer. I left the room with them as my guardians. I'll never forget the terror of being wedged back there while watching her fat hot dog fingers try to molest me from above. My friend was very drunk in college and went home with a very unattractive girl. We had tried to stop him, but he didn't listen. Shortly after arriving at her home, He said he regained clarity and realized he needed to escape. She left the room for a moment to brush her teeth or some such task, and he jumped out a second-story window. He forgot his hat, though, and had to climb back in said window. Then he jumped back out. It was a small school. We saw her on campus often. Indiana Jones, the college years. Late to the party, but here we go. Not something I did, but my brother. For a few weeks in high school, I lived with my mom, and I was babysitting my younger brothers. A girl with who I went to school decided to stop by and was clumsily trying to seduce me. She had a bit of a reputation, and I was watching kids besides, so I really wasn't into it. Anyway, she got really forceful, and my younger brother picked up on the fact that I was uncomfortable. As an aside, I was supposed to be very careful about letting the boys play wrestling video games, as they tended to get a little rowdy. I had completely ignored this rule all day. Anyway, my brother saw how uncomfortable I was, so he decided that he was going to climb on the back of the couch and drop kick the fuck right out of her. I pretended to be upset with him until she got back up and left, then high-fived him and took my brothers out for ice cream. Late to the show and tell, but why not? This is a story of wingmanship more than turning down sex. Went to a bar with two buddies, one of whom was meeting a girl there he had a crush on. She was wasted when we arrived, and after introductions it became apparent she was interested in me. Heavy flirting, obvious touching, etc. My friend with the crush took it in stride, sort of giving me a say lovey shrug, but I felt bad. I moved the conversation around till it was ripe to drop a white lie. I was gay. She didn't believe me at first, so I improved and wrapped my arm around my other friend, who was in the middle of WTFing after hearing me say that, and introduced him as my partner. She did a hip cock and asked us to prove it. There are those moments when you catch the gaze of a friend and realize that what's about to go down is something that you'll laugh about later or again at each other's wedding. It only lasts for a split second, but in those moments you can glimpse the depth of your friendship. We shared a moment like that before exchanging a slow, gentle, familiar kiss. She just stood there, then said, "Wow, you guys don't seem gay." Meanwhile, my pal who was into her witnessed the whole thing, jaw dropped, and bought us 2 shots. She became more obnoxious as the night wore on, and my pal lost all interest. Came out of there with a great story though. Kissed another male friend to convince girl I was gay. Last year I met a girl at a party, and we hit it off after getting a rather large number of beers inside of us. Eventually we moved into a bedroom and started making out pretty intensely. I was a virgin at this point, and I decided to get down to business for the very first time. As I turned aside to put my socks on, I like to be comfy. She slipped her hand down her skirt and ripped off a bloody tampon, thinking I wasn't looking. At this point my drunken mind decided to go into overdrive to get me the fuck out of there, resulting in me saying the following words: "Bleh, I need to bury my tequila." I jumped off the bed and ran off into the night like a mystic demon. Edit 1. Seeing as this has turned into a debate over the logistics of tampon ripping, I was very drunk and very scared by the aggressive nature in which she removed her pad. She flung it across the room like a boomerang. Until today, I did not distinguish between tampons and pads. I just saw them as virgin repellers. At one of my house parties a few years back, one of my friends brought over a female friend to drink. This girl had "cum dumpster" written across her forehead. In my college days, I had "cum dumper" tattooed on my neck 10 minutes into the party. It was evident that she wanted to take part in the no pants dance. I was 50-50 about it. After the party, a fifth of vodka and a case of beer, my roommate and I went back to our room with this girl and one he had picked up through the night. They ended up passing out, so I had no feasible way out at this point. If something went wrong, not only did she skip the whole "let's make out for 2 hours" stage, she grabbed a handful of my hair and just started trying to force me to go down on her. At this point, I'm down to a 30-70 in wanting to take part in this. By the time I got to her belly button, the scent of low tide rolled into my nose. So, I did the natural thing any 21-year-old guy would do. I crawled back up to her and started speaking seductively in my Kermit the Frog voice until she left my bed. Edit. I hate to disappoint many of you, but the tattoo reference is a figurative statement. Haha. I appreciate all of the input. Genuinely a few belly jiggler comments. I'm no Tucker Maximum, but I have a story or two. Second plot twist. I had a girl in my bed, and I'm a mechanical engineer. I opened up a collectible card game and miniature store.